Hello, everyone. Today is June 13th, 2021. I'm here with Wade Zhang. Wade is a PhD student at the University of California, San Diego in bioengineering and a member of the Rao Lab in the La Jolla Institute of Immunology. Thanks for coming on the podcast, Wade.
Great to be here, Karush. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
It's like COVID is starting to end now and everything's starting to reopen. So I was like, damn, maybe I wanted to do this podcast like in person with you. It's like maybe Karush has the guest set up, but nah, we're still we're confined to Zoom, but it'll be good.
Yes, it'll be good. I know. The reason that's the case is because we were just having some audio issues right before this, but like when it's in person, that catch on the second microphone, I haven't learned how to keep the background noise from.
Oh, I see. Yeah, like it feeds into the other mic.
Exactly.
Okay.
It feeds into
I
the
didn't
other
even think
mic.
about that.
Yes, and so like when I do it in person, you pretty much the easiest way I found is to record it with two different, so I create two different recordings and then you sync those two recordings up in like iMovie, but then sometimes the I believe like the frames per second on the recordings can be slightly different, which throws off the audio. So like then the background of one of the videos doesn't align with the foreground of the other video. So there's
it's not synced, and it's like
not synced.
Damn, you gotta ask Joe Rogan how he does it.
I know, or Jamie.
Setup. Yeah, Jamie.
Joe probably might not. Yeah, Jamie for sure knows.
Yeah, man.
We'll get it going the second time on the podcast. Wow. So PhD, if you're in your 5th year now,
I'm actually in my 6th year.
Wow. That's
too long.
How's the program been for you?
It's had its ups and downs like anything. But you know, I'm enjoying it, making the best of it that I can. It's been quite a journey. I would say like the one thing that my PhD has taught me, if I had to pick one valuable lesson, would be like it got me over my fear of failure, because like I've tried so many different things and like failed at them that it's like, okay, I've become numb to that. So I'm not afraid to fail. So,
wow. That's an important mentality that a lot of people don't adopt. What have you failed in?
Dude, everything. Getting like my project to the point where it is, it's like just trying to set up the protocols and like figuring out what works, what doesn't, and like having to change directions like multiple times, having to pivot. So yeah.
What protocols? What are the protocols you have to change?
So I'm doing like I'm trying to set up like a screen in mice, and it's a cancer model. And so like the first big hurdle that I ran into was just like trying to get the screen. I don't want to get too technical, so I'll try to speak in like broad terms. It was like we were trying to turn on different proteins in the mouse, and like 6 months into the project, we found out like just everything stopped working. And it was like we were banging our heads trying to figure out what was going wrong. And then we finally pinpointed it to like, okay, the mouse. It was like our mouse literally stopped working, which is like the last thing you want to happen because it's completely out of your hands. It's like you expect the mouse to work. So we had to get like a completely different strain, and instead of doing like an activation screen, we had to change directions and turn it into a knockout screen. So yeah, I lost like 6 months just from that. Like everything I'd done up to that point is like, okay, all right, down the drain.
What do you mean? Wow, that's tough.
Yeah, so like the mouse, like it has like a certain, we expect it to behave in a certain way. It's a transgenic mouse. It's got this like foreign gene in it that makes it like turn on certain proteins when we treat it a certain way. And then like over time, that effect just kept getting weaker and weaker, and it was like getting diluted out. And we're like, what the hell is going on? And then, yeah, so we never really got to the bottom of it, but we think it was like gene silencing is like getting technical here, but basically the gene, the foreign element that was in the mouse was just getting like silenced. So it wasn't working anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
And were other members of, and was that like, did you try this same transgenetic mutation on a different mouse? And did it adapt easier?
That was one idea we had, like when we were trying to troubleshoot it, is take that kind of foreign gene and introduce it into a mouse, but that was just going to take too much time, and that was outside of my like realm of expertise to be able to do that. Yeah, because we just like bought the mouse. It's like you can go to like their online catalogs and like all the different labs like deposit these different strains of transgenic mice, and you can just kind of like shop around for like the phenotype that you want. But yeah, wow. So it's really crazy because it's like you think it's like something you're doing, right? And it's like, okay, maybe I did something a little bit different on this day, and then, or maybe I like added the wrong culture media or something, and then it's like you try everything and then nothing's working, and then it's like, oh, okay, it's actually the mouse. So it was completely like couldn't do anything about it. So that's what sucked the most. But hey, it's a learning experience, and I've been able to. My project is like taking a really nice shape. So yeah, I'm not like mad or anything. It's just that's just the way things work, man. You try and do something, doesn't work, you got to pivot.
Wow. Yeah, seriously. That might not be the worst one of your life either. There might be something else.
Yeah, there's death for sure, dude. I hope not, because honestly, if that's the worst thing that happens to me, my life won't be that exciting.
Yeah, exactly. So generally, if you were to buy the same type of transgenic mouse from one of those retailers, one of these mice retailers, it shouldn't have done that gene silencing where it should have continued exhibiting those traits.
Exactly. Yeah. And I reached out to the vendor. I was like, hey, I'm having these problems. They were like, okay. We kind of went back and forth on it. Eventually, they just refunded us for our purchase. But that strain is still available, and it's like, like I kind of want them to take it down to save other people, other researchers, the time and hassle. I actually reached out to the lab that deposited the strain, like the original lab that made that mouse, and they were like, oh yeah, we saw the same thing too. And I was like, okay, fuck, why is this thing like still on checks?
Wow.
I'm not gonna. I don't know if I should say what strain it is. Actually, maybe I should, because if any other people are thinking about using that strain, this might save them months, if not years. It's shit. It's I mean, I can just say the strain, but I'm not sure people will be able to like know what I'm talking about. Hold on, let me look it up. I'll just give you the catalog number. And
so you only purchased one mouse?
I purchased like so usually like you buy a breeding pair, a male and a female, and then you just kind of expand your own colony so that you have enough mice to work with. But that takes like, takes about like a week or two to get them pregnant, and then you have to wait for the mice to grow up before they're ready for experiments. So there's a very long lead time. So it can be like 2 months before you're actually ready for an experiment. So you really have to plan far in advance.
Wow. How much do one of these mice cost, or one of these pairs?
Like anywhere from $200 to $400. Okay. But I'm not paying it. My PI is paying it. Angina is paying for it. So I found it. So for anyone who's interested, the strain number is 031645 on Jax. You proceed with caution.
0 on Jax? What's on Jax?
Jax is the vendor. It's the name of the vendor that sells these mice. I've had really good experience with Jax. Like every other mouse we've gotten from them works great. It's just this one strain. So I'm not like pooping on Jax. It's just, this is probably something that fell through the cracks, so.
And they're not the ones who inject the mice with the mutation, correct?
No, that's the originating lab. Yeah. So they just like the lab deposits it with them and they're like a repository and then they can expand the mice and sell it to other people.
Wow.
But they're like
That's
really big. It's like it's a central hub where all researchers go to buy mice.
okay. Jax's or
Jax,
the
Jax, like the League of Legends character. If you, I don't know
okay.
if you played that.
I didn't play that. Did you play that?
I did, yes, yeah, for a while.
What about World of Warcraft?
I never got into World of Warcraft. My games growing up were this FPS called, it was a Korean first-person shooter called Warrock. And I also played, on the RPG side, I played two RPGs. I played Diablo and I played RuneScape. Pretty old
Wow.
school. I know.
Diablo.
Something
Wow.
like what the kids have these days. I look at like the graphics for the new games. I'm like, holy shit, I don't know how these kids are going to do anything with their lives. It's so
Yeah.
addicting. It was already so addicting when I played it with like shitty graphics. Now these days it's like so immersive and like realistic and like things have only gotten better. Like the programmers know what they're doing. Like they know how to like get you hooked and just play
Yes.
forever. But yeah.
They do.
Nothing against gamers, dude. I love gamers. Gamers are cool, but like
Yes.
I just couldn't get, you know, shit like game and get shit done. So I had to cut it out of my life.
Not anymore. Like
Yeah, not anymore.
have you heard of a game called The Last of Us?
Yes, I have. That's like it's like a survival type game, right?
Yes, it is. It's
Is
pretty much what were we gonna say?
well, I played Left 4 Dead, which is like a zombie apocalyptic game. It's like
Okay.
multiplayer. Yeah,
And how was that?
that was really good. It was made by shit, the same people who made Half-Life, I think. That was really fun. I logged a lot of hours on that. Made a lot of great memories, great gaming friends. But yeah, I'm actually not really friends with anyone that I gamed with. That was like high school days, early college days.
Early college, you were still gaming too?
Yes.
In LOL?
Yeah, League of Legends.
League of Legends was very big, like when we were first in college, undergrad. It gained
I
a lot of
remember it starting to
popularity.
blow up. Yes, yeah. And that it like coincided with like the whole streaming thing. Like streaming became really popular
Yes.
and took off.
It
It's
was
like people
crazy.
make more streaming than they do playing competitively. Because like before streaming was a thing, like the way you made money as a professional gamer was to compete, like to literally be like you had to be the best in the world and you had to win like the biggest tournaments, right? And even then, like the prize purse you're taking home was like hundreds of thousands, right? But like these days, like you don't even have to be that good. But if you stream, you know how to make good content and be entertaining, you can make way more than that and like just have fun while you're doing it.
That is so incredible. It's kind of crazy that people, I mean, I remember this, like being in my friend's house and him and his friend just watching a guy play League of Legends
I know,
online.
right? Yeah.
And I was amazed because they loved it. And did you do it? Did you watch a lot? Did you watch a lot of people?
I did, yeah. I did watch streamers, and then there were also I watched like the competitive tournaments. They streamed that too. I actually had a friend in high school. His brother is like a really popular streamer for League of Legends, and he made so much money doing it that he didn't even go to college. He's like,
Wow.
yeah, he's a high school graduate. Not even college dropout. He's like he didn't even start college. So it's like
Because he made so much money streaming.
yeah. He's really popular. Like I don't want to say his name, protect his identity, but he's yeah.
Got good
He was
content.
like making enough money to like fly his friends out to like these vacations and like just do all this crazy shit.
Wow. That sounds really chill. Like a great way to make money. A lot of money.
I know, right? Just game all day and have fun.
Be entertaining. Yeah. That's not easy though. Like
yeah, I mean it's the same with podcasts. It's like you gotta make the content, you know, entertaining. It's the same idea.
it is the same idea. It is. And it takes
And then
a
we
lot of
blow up to Joe
dedication.
Rogan status, and then Spotify pays you, what do you get, like $100 billion?
Million.
Oh, million. Yeah, okay, not a billion. 100 million.
100 billion would be a lot. That would be
Yes.
they might, no, they have 100 billion for sure.
I think their market cap is nearing that, but yeah, definitely not that much.
It's going to be a crazy world this next like 10, 15 years. Like the new world of celebrities and like streaming and entertainment. I feel like it's going to be a lot more decentralized.
For sure. It's going to be decentralized, kind of in the hands of the people. And yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. It's like everything's becoming more like crowdsourced, right?
Yes. What's a good example to you that's becoming more crowdsourced, like something?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is like Bitcoin.
Yes.
It's like put money in the hands of the people and make it so that central governments can't just keep printing money. That's like one of the biggest appeals of Bitcoin, is that it's like fixed supply. As long as you can't hack it, right, it'll stay that way forever. And yeah.
As long as you can't hack it.
Yeah, okay, we're about to go down the Bitcoin rabbit hole. I'm not like a huge Bitcoin proponent.
No.
I'm just saying facts that I hear from other Bitcoin bulls.
No, I understand. It's definitely a very.
Are you in Bitcoin, bro?
Not particularly, no.
Are you in crypto?
Not
no
as much as
or anything like that.
No, I should have been, but okay. No. Are you?
I'm not. No, I'm watching it from the sidelines.
Me too.
Very interesting.
It's very interesting, and it becomes more and more intriguing, and seems like definitely like an asset worth considering.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, in. I'm rooting for it. Like, if it's like it's probably one of the biggest like social experiments of our generation. If it ends up succeeding, we'll look back and like we'll be like, man, everyone who didn't get in on Bitcoin early, it's like, what the hell were they thinking? Yes. But it's hard to know where we are right now. Yeah,
it is hard to know, and it's hard to know. Like, I was telling my friend this yesterday, like, what if Bitcoin or Ethereum are kind of like MySpace, in the sense of Ethereum, I see it being a little harder because they have such a wide or such a like expansive product that they're offering, whereas Bitcoin is more just like a single blockchain that's been out there the longest, so most people trust it.
Yeah, it's kind of got like the most clout.
Yes, exactly. But what if like something like what Facebook did to MySpace comes out, where it's like this other blockchain with an even better encryption algorithm that's and like
faster transaction speeds.
Faster transactions.
I think the big bottleneck with Bitcoin is the transaction like processing rate, right? Like how fast new blocks can be added and things like that.
And the cost.
One of these altcoins, Dogecoin, man, it's gonna be Dogecoin.
We'll see. It's a wild ride out there.
Crazy, man. Yeah, you really if you're in crypto at all, like my hat's off to you. You have to be that shit keeps you on your toes.
Yes, exactly. I don't like being on my toes too much.
I like being on the balls of my feet.
Yes, I like being on the balls of my feet. I mean, sometimes being on the toes, but like not my every single investment that's there, like every day, just wondering if it's up or down. The volatility, like everyone keeps on speaking towards.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It works both ways, right? It's like it hurts you. Volatility is great when it works, when it's on the upside, but it hurts you on the downside. So you just have to adjust your risk appetite accordingly.
Yes. Risk. Yes, exactly. Wow. So 6 months were wasted because of a rogue mouse, transgenic mouse.
Basically, yep.
So What did you do after that?
So we pivoted, and instead of like the original screen that we were trying to do, we literally did like a 180. So like rather than overexpress this protein or proteins, we decided to knock them out or turn them down. And yeah, that ended up working. I mean, it took a few more months to get the kinks hammered out, but once we got it rolling, we got some positive hits from that screen. I was able to validate those hits, and right, that's where I am right now. I'm kind of doing a bunch of omics studies to kind of further understand the phenotype that we're seeing.
And that's what you mean by hit, is that you're seeing a phenotype?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, it's like you have a screen, you're basically screening like thousands of genes at a certain time, and a lot of those are going to be negatives, but a few of them will score positive, and then you follow up on those ones that score positive.
What are you planning on doing with those positive scores?
So the screen was set up to be like, we were trying to identify genes that if we knocked it out could improve the function of T cells in killing cancer. So all of the hits from the screen, like when we validate them, we want to see them like clear tumors faster. So basically I give mice tumors, and then I'm basically playing God. I try to take those tumors away.
Wow.
I give it and I take it.
How often do you take it?
Recently, quite frequently. It's like I have some
Wow.
experiments like every 2 weeks, and like each experiment is like 30 mice. So I've killed hundreds, if not thousands of mice, but I've also cured some of them.
That's what the goal is, to find
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the ultimate end goal is to then take what we found in mice and validate it in humans. But that's a whole nother can of worms that I'm not, that's what a pharma company would do. Everything I'm doing is preclinical right now. It's like proof of concept, does it work in mice? Okay, yes, then the next step would be tested in humans.
Okay. And is that where, so most of the work you're doing and plan on doing in the future will be preclinical?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is pretty much the end of the road for me. It's like I just have to do a bunch of like more genomics type studies, but we found like a really strong hit, so I'm happy with where we are. Yeah.
How many people are on your team?
It's just me, but like I work in the cancer immunotherapy team in our lab, and there were at our height like 4 people. Wait, let me count. Yeah, so there was Youngsuk, there was Chow, there was Cece, Eric, and I. So there were 5 of us. But we're all like, everyone has their own projects, and they're more or less independent of each other. But we all meet and like we all do similar research. So if someone needs help, like we help each other out.
Okay. Wow. But you all, okay. That's pretty tough.
I have a pretty popular, unpopular opinion. Tell me what you think of this. We were talking about how like mice, like the next step after mouse experiments, all the preclinical stuff is then to see if it works in humans. Only like less than 10% of treatments that make it through preclinical studies actually end up working in humans. And that's like a lot of wasted time, effort, energy, resources, money spent into projects that ultimately don't, end up going anywhere. What if this is going to sound crazy, what if we cloned humans so that we could experiment on them in humans? That way, everything that works in humans, we already know it works. We don't have to waste any more time trying to figure out if it works in humans. Like, that would save so much time. Like, drugs would hit the market so much faster. And yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's kind of an ethical dilemma, moral dilemma. Like, you got to clone humans to do it. You got any thoughts on that?
I personally, there's like, so we've cloned animals, we've cloned sheep and various other animals.
Right.
So we can most likely clone.
Oh, we could do it. Yeah, of course, technology is there.
Okay. You know, I mean, I'm always one to try new things. That's a huge, I mean, I have a question because this is a huge ethical question at this point. It's not even scientific. Do you and your colleague, you said it was unpopular. Do you guys ever go into these types of discussions of like, because you guys do have quite an incredible path ahead of you, like you and all of your colleagues.
I've never discussed it with them. Usually I'm like, this is like, I'm talking with my non-scientific friends because I don't know, it's easier to talk about this kind of stuff with non-scientists, I feel like. Because usually all the scientists are like, no, you can't do that. That's not ethical. Like, we have all these rules in place for a reason. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So most the scientists feel like they should follow the rules and do like as says.
Well, I feel like, yeah. I mean, most people, I think most reasonable people feel that way in general, right? But I'm just like trying to stir the pot a little bit. It's like, you can save all this time and money and energy and resources. You just have to have like a colony of humans that on some remote island that don't know anything, but that they don't even know that they're being part of an experiment.
Wow.
It's like,
have you ever, go?
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Have you ever seen the movie Island?
I have not.
It's pretty much exactly what you just said. It's a colony of clones that are kept on an island, and then one by one they're called up into like to come off the island, and then they're harvested for their whatever they need by a person who's actually their exact clone. So they're all clones.
Shit, that's crazy.
Yes, exactly. So it's like they're all clones of somebody, and then they're like actual person who they're cloned after is probably very rich individual. This is in the movie, and then they're all.
What was he trying to do with the clones? Like, what was he harvesting them for? Is like trying to study them, figure out like how to cure a disease that he has?
No, it was a company. A company had the clones, and the customers were rich people, and then the rich people would give them their DNA, then the company would create the clone, and then say the rich person needed a new heart, or the rich person needed a new ACL, or the rich person needed a skin graft or something. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a while. Maybe they're not rich. I don't know, but I would assume they are. Because
they had like a lost partner that they wanted to bring back to life.
Maybe I don't know if that's a crazy thing that you just said. Wow. I mean,
it wouldn't be the same, right? Because they would be biologically identical, but they haven't, the mentally, like their upbringing, everything would be it would be like a completely different person.
Have you checked the twin studies? Because there have been studies on twins who have are biologically exactly the same, but then different environments.
And exactly. It's like the whole nature versus nurture.
And they wouldn't be the same, especially if they didn't have the upbringing at the very beginning. It's like,
yeah, of course. I think what if all of the clones, what if we cloned I have an idea. What if we cloned who do you think is the most despicable human in human history? What if we cloned Adolf Hitler and did all of these experiments on clones of Adolf Hitler? Would you feel less bad about it, knowing that we're reaping some medical and scientific benefits from these studies? I feel like that'd be more palatable. Except it's not actually Adolf Hitler. It's like we were just saying, they're biologically they're Adolf Hitler, but they haven't actually done the bad things that the real Adolf Hitler has done.
People would then argue you're bringing Adolf Hitler back to life, and
But it would be on an island. It would be secure. There's no way you'll be able to escape. We'll keep that shit on lockdown.
Dude, that's what they said in the movie too, and then it didn't happen. Yeah, they clones broke out.
Oh no!
And that's how. I mean, they're not clones in Westworld, but Westworld, the robots broke out too. I mean, biogenetics is a very crazy field. Do you have any plans for your career? Well, before we get to that, at what point in your 6-year tenure did you fail this? Like, did your experiment with the mouse, you realize this isn't going to work?
That happened like I want to say year 3, maybe like the very early year 4. So the first year of the program is all classes. So like I haven't even joined a lab yet. And then you kind of like do rotations to figure out what lab you want to join. And I was actually kind of late because it took me a while to find the lab that I ultimately joined. So I started like the actual research part of my thesis well into year 2. So yeah, so it was like a year or so after I started.
Okay, so little after year 3, and then you found out early year 4.
Yeah, because like I didn't like hit the ground running with my project. Some people get projects that like it's very clear cut. It's like this is what you need to do, and they're able to start right away. But I was also like completely new to wet lab. I like had barely picked up a pipette before, so like I was just trying to learn the ropes. That took a little bit of time, and then the project eventually got going from there.
What's wet lab?
Wet lab, like as opposed to dry lab. So usually dry lab means like computational type stuff, like programming. Wet lab is like at the bench, like you're doing things inside of a hood, like you're using your hands and
Got it.
Mixing reagents and yeah.
So science and pharmaceutical industry, and would hardware engineering be considered wet lab? If you're working,
you mean like software engineering?
No, hardware. Like if you're putting together a robot or a computer of some sorts.
So all of the physical things, like actually assembling the robot, I would say are like wet lab, but all the programming would be like dry lab.
Got it. And what for you would, I mean, you have probably a lot of data entry and things that are considered dry lab. Or what is your dry lab task?
So I have like all the data that I'm about to collect is going to have to be analyzed by a bioinformatician. I don't have that expertise. There are bioinformaticians in our lab that will do that for us. So yeah.
Okay.
It's a very multidisciplinary team effort.
I'm sure. It seems like a very complicated subject matter that requires an arsenal.
Yeah. I was just before we started this podcast, I was just eating poke. Do you like poke?
I do.
I was thinking, because last night I kind of ate like, it was kind of like a cheat meal. I ate kind of like bad. I was like, what can I eat that's clean but still filling? And poke always like fits the bill.
Yes.
Super clean. I feel so fresh and so clean. And
that was your cheat meal?
No. Last night my cheat meal was like I went to Mendocino Farms and we had these like steak sandwiches and like this really delicious couscous and this quinoa salad. It was like kind of healthy, but
too much of a cheat
it sounds healthy, but like it was like, my thing is like healthy for me is like I'm looking at carbs, like grams of carbs and sugar. So there wasn't that much sugar, but like there was a lot of bread and the couscous was like, it was pretty carb heavy. Yeah. So I was like, so today for the poke bowl, I got the salad base because they usually ask you what base you want. I was like, brown rice, white rice. Nah, just give me the salad.
Yes, dude, I feel the same way. Just like I was talking with my friend earlier, like clean energy.
Yes, very clean energy.
Yeah, and they feel different, like versus, I mean, Mendocino Farms isn't too bad, but like, say it's like a carb-heavy meal with like, I don't know. And also I think the types of foods too play somewhat of a role. Like,
absolutely.
I feel like white rice is a pretty easily digestible carb compared to like bread or pasta.
Yeah. It's like a simple carb, but they say that it's the least nutrition. No, like
really
compared to brown rice. Yeah. Cause it doesn't have the grain or it's like devoid of anything nutritionally
besides energy,
besides pure carbs.
Wow.
But hey, I grew up eating that shit, white rice every day.
And you're thin. So
Somehow, yeah. I guess I don't know. I feel like Asians like have thousands of years of evolution when it comes to digesting that type of stuff. So I feel like they
yes,
probably can handle it better than other races. That's just pure speculation, but that would be my guess.
yes, Iranians and Indian people also eat a lot of rice, but different. Have you had Iranian rice? I personally
No.
prefer Asian rice over Iranian
Okay.
rice. It's basmati.
Okay. Yeah, I've had
I,
basmati.
I like Asian rice more. White Asian rice is my favorite. Vietnamese pho noodles are also pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, those are definitely, you gotta be careful.
Yeah, you got to be. I don't eat those very often. Like it's like
I remember you're pretty low carb, right? Like when we were at Alex's bachelor party, I
yes,
remember you were like cooking eggs and bacon and like no toast.
yeah, I know.
Okay, yeah.
Now I still am pretty low carb, but I'm
Okay,
pretty
that's good,
high.
man.
I'm considering now instead of emphasizing fat, I'm more emphasizing protein,
Okay.
which still, and then once you do that, like once I did that, then I took my fat intake down, which brought my entire calorie intake down a lot. And so
Yeah.
you can even like add a few more carbs onto that too.
There you go. Yeah,
That's
okay.
that's how I, because like, yeah, I mean, it's an experiment because I'm trying to figure out how to eat well, and it's not easy.
Yeah. And it's different for everyone. What works for
Yes,
someone will not, work as well for the next person. So that's the hard thing about like nutrition when it like as a science, you think about it as like a scientific discipline. There's so much biological variability in humans that it's hard to really come to that many conclusive conclusions, right? So that's why like, yeah, when it comes to diet, I feel like, yeah, it's like probably you want to eat no saturated fats or not saturated fats. What's the
trans
stuff in
fats.
margarine? Yeah, trans fats, like the stuff in margarine. You probably
Yes,
want to avoid that. Try and eat more veggies, more greens, and
yes,
but like beyond that, like you really have to experiment and tinker.
yes.
So
Experiment.
I was very low carb. Like I did that experiment like my freshman and sophomore year. I think even into my junior year of college.
Wow.
I was like like straight up very low carb. Like for breakfast I had like our dining hall had like eggs. I just had eggs and peanut butter or something.
Really?
And because I didn't want to
Freshman
eat
year?
cereal. It's so hard to eat like cereal. I mean, breakfast low carb, right? Because there's always like some kind of grain. It's like toast,
Muffin.
cereal, yeah, muffins, bagels, like, yeah. So, and then yeah, I was like, I think I took that a little overboard because at one point, like, I just remember like guzzling olive oil for lunch. Like,
Wow.
I was like straight up drinking it from the bottle. I was like,
That's
yep,
insane.
this will fill me up and it's low carb. But
Was that for undergrad or for graduate school?
that was undergrad. That was before I came to West Coast for graduate school. But yeah, I took that too far. I overdid it because like I got my blood checked and like my not LDL, like my cholesterol levels, like LDLP and LDLC were through the roof. I was like, holy shit, okay, this is not working. Like I gotta dial it back and figure out, change something. So yeah,
Yes.
everyone's different, right? I'm not saying like low carb won't work for everyone or anyone. You just gotta experiment with it, try things like a little bit one at a time, and then like take what works well from one thing and then like supplement it with another thing.
Yes. Take what works well, supplement it. Don't beat yourself up if you fall off the bandwagon. And
Yeah,
like, there are times where like I would eat an unhealthy meal, and then for the next 24 to 48 hours would just continue to eat unhealthy in an unhealthy way because it was just like I ate that one meal, so might as well
yeah,
continue the streak. But like you did today, which is huge, it's like recognizing that you did, like you had a cheat meal and then just eating, supplementing for that today with no, greens instead of rice. And yesterday too, like there was an instance, like I went to a bar in the middle of the day with someone and they
Nice.
ordered a burger and fries and a beer. And I
Okay.
ordered a shrimp salad. So definitely, like I can
Nice.
sympathize with the low carb effort, and it's a lot of calories, and debatably, like not what I'm trying to. I don't think the cleanest of energy, which doesn't make me feel great. So
Yeah, for me, I don't count calories that much. Like for that, I just kind of go with like, do I feel full? Like how are my energy levels? That's kind of intuitive. I take an intuitive approach for that. For me, the main things I'm tracking are, like you said, the quality of the inputs, like how many grams of carbs, proteins, fats. Yeah, and like really high quality like stuff.
yes,
The older I'm getting, it's like the more I realize like the inputs really matter. So, you know,
they matter.
gotta go to Bristol Farms more often. Buy that high quality produce, high quality
Dude,
ingredients,
oh
because
man,
your body will thank you for it later.
they will. But I went to Whole Foods a couple days ago, and I got some pork that was on sale. And then I noticed when the guy printed out the ticket that it wasn't the on sale price.
Oh,
And
okay.
then I was like, hey, is it going to be on sale when I get there to the cash register? And he was like, yeah, it's going to be on sale once you get there. And then I pay for it. I didn't realize that I should check, see if it's on sale. And when I got home, I found out
They rang
it
you up wrong. Damn.
full price.
Damn.
I know.
You gotta
And it's
call them
not,
back and be like, hey, I want my refund.
I want my refund. I want another 2 pounds of pork, please. And I mean, it's not a big deal. It's like $12, may not even. It's probably like $8 lost, but it's like,
Yeah, it's the principle. It's like
it's the principle for sure.
I wanna be charged for what I'm buying
I
correctly.
wouldn't have bought it if it wasn't on sale.
Exactly.
So I don't know if I'll be going to Whole Foods anytime soon. I might have to
I,
stick to what were you gonna say?
I haven't had many like experiences like that. What that reminds me of is like have you ever had to send food back at a restaurant? Like because it's too cold or
Not too
something.
often. Have you?
I had to do that once, yeah. And like this was like we ordered fries and they came out like stone cold.
Wow.
So I was like, yeah, like could you give us another round, please?
Yes. That sounds not very good. Cold fries. Do you know
That
what
was a little
restaurant
bit.
that was?
It was a steakhouse. It was like what's the steakhouse that everyone like the low to medium
Fleming's?
tier? No,
Outback?
is it Outback? Yes, the Outback. It was at an Outback Steakhouse.
Wow. That's funny. Okay. Well, I won't go to Outback then either.
Nah, I mean they're yeah. It's I feel like it's harder to send food back in that type of setting than it is like if the cashier just like rings you up incorrectly. It's like, oh yeah, you just made like a small mistake, but it's like, damn, my food's cold. Bring it back
Yes.
proper.
Like you feel like you're more of
A dick.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
now,
sure.
yeah, because yeah, I understand that. It's way more like for something that's cooked already, it's like now it's just going to be wasted.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, and you kind of seem pretentious, right? But I feel like for something like that, it's like if food comes out cold, it's like that's warranted.
That's warranted. I agree for sure.
Yeah. If it's like missing an ingredient, I'm not going to be like, okay, yeah, like fucking add that shit. Like, unless it's like I ordered a steak for an entree, like fucking no steak comes out, right? But if it's like a soup and there's no like, I don't know, carrots or peas, I'm not gonna get anal over that.
But if there's no chicken in your chicken noodle soup,
Yes, yes, send it back.
yes. I mean, we went there to have a hot meal cooked for you. Like, when I go out, I really am looking forward to like, do you cook for yourself?
Dude, no. I
No.
used to, but I eat out for like pretty much all my meals.
So what do you eat to be healthy and still eat out?
Yeah, that's the challenge, man. I was eating Chipotle like really frequently, like on the reg, like daily, at one point. I feel like Chipotle is good. The way I do it is I don't get any rice, I don't get any beans, I don't even do the tortillas. Like I just get fajita veggies, I pick my protein, and then I get all the sides, like cheese, sour cream,
Wow.
salsa, and guac. Yes, always get the guac.
Always. No
Yeah,
beans? Wow.
no rice, no beans.
Damn. And you like that, but you stopped doing that?
That was working really well for me for a while. I just got a little bit tired of it, so I started changing it up. But I realized like I used to think like carbs were the enemy, right? It's like when you're low carb, that's kind of your mentality. But now
Yes.
it's kind of like you were saying, it's like it's all about balance, right? You don't want to put things too out of whack. So I tailor my carb intake now to like the level of physical activity I'm doing. If I'm lifting like really heavy in the gym, then I'll definitely up my grams of carbs. But if it's like if I'm on a rest day or taking it easy, then I'll dial it back.
Yes. I can sympathize with that. Also, for me, if I like am 2 or 3 pounds overweight, just start going into a low carb phase, and it's
Oh
like
yeah,
way
you'll shed it
easier,
off.
shed it off way quicker. Like,
That's the great thing about low carb is like if you want to lose weight, that would be the diet that I recommend to someone. Just cut out
yes,
sugars, like refined carbs. You'll see like it'll fucking just melt away.
dude, it's crazy the difference in quality of diets between people in the same, you know, just like
The same
called
room.
same room. Seriously, sometimes like one person is like, I can't eat X, Y, Z, A, B, C, and the other person's like, dude, I don't even care. I'll eat anything.
Yeah.
It's
That's what I like about like working out is like it gives you more leeway to eat whatever the heck you want. But at the end of the day, the quality of the input still matters. You can't put garbage into your body because it will
no,
catch up to you eventually. So
and yet if you do, it has to be. I feel like in extremely low quantities, like almost not even able to like really detect it quantities.
or you can binge it really hard and just never do it for like another 6 months.
Yes, that is. Have you heard of Tim Ferriss's slow carb diet?
That's crap. It's really familiar. I like Tim Ferriss a lot. What is that?
I like him a lot too. It is it literally like, so like I had this period. So when I came to school, I was 235. I weighed 235 pounds going into UCSD. I lost,
235 pounds?
yes,
Holy
yes.
shit. Okay. All right.
And then after that, by the end, I was within the first quarter, I went down to 205. And then by the end, I
Wow.
went down to 195. And I was like 195 possibly for like 2 or 3 years. And then I went on Tim Ferriss's slow carb diet. And I like dropped to like 179. And like
Damn.
it was crazy. Like it really, because this is what it is pretty much. It's 6 days a week. You eat within 30 minutes of waking up. You only eat for 12 hours after that. So you're fasting for the last 4 hours of your day.
Okay.
And you only eat proteins, meats pretty much, green vegetables, like the lowest carb green vegetables, and beans.
Beans. Okay.
Beans and lentils. And those are pretty high in protein. Like, and he specified black beans and lentils, which it's like, if you, and the thing in, like, he pointed out this, it's like for rice, every for every 1 gram of protein, there's 33 grams of carbs. I'm sorry. I think that's 3 grams of protein for every 33 grams of carbs. So it's 1 to 11. For every 1 gram of protein, there's 11 grams of carbs. But for lentils, for every 1 gram of protein, there's like 2 1/3 grams of carbs.
Yeah, the protein to carb ratio is a lot lower.
A lot lower. So I didn't realize it, but
the other way around, it's a lot higher. Yeah.
Yes, protein to carb ratio is a lot higher. And the end too is like fasting for the last 4 hours of your day. You're gonna go.
That's big, yeah.
That's huge. Like versus what I was doing before, which was like eating an hour before sleep, waking up, and then making breakfast, and then just eating throughout the day. Where it's like, dude, no, you should actually like take you should take this evening off from eating completely, which is a huge like way of thinking that no one really, talks of, no one did talk about before.
Yeah. I mean, I was never taught that in school. And I think what we're talking about is called like time restricted feeding, like intermittent fasting is like restricting the amount of when you can eat to is like a 8-hour window within the day. And I think that's another thing that people can do if they want to see results in their metabolism and possibly even their weight. I don't know if it helps so much with the weight loss, but I feel like I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's like your body just runs cleaner and more efficiently when you're on these like 16-hour fasts.
Yes, it does. And I feel like the digestive system needs a break.
Some people, I didn't mention this, but I don't eat breakfast. So I'm on I pretty much do a 16-hour restricted like IMF. So I'm only eating between like 12 p.m. and 8 p.m. And then, 2 meals, lunch and dinner.
Have you heard of a guy named Mark Sisson?
Yes. Yeah. He writes the blog, Mark's Daily Apple.
Yes, he does.
Dude,
and
that was my go-to resource when I was on the my low carb phase.
Really?
Mark Sisson, yep.
Dude's
fucking jacked. He's like a 50, 60-year-old white guy. He's got a really nice physique.
65, and he's still really, dude, I can't believe it, because I'm like, you doing that, when was that, like 2012 you did that? Low carb?
Pretty much, yeah, freshman, sophomore year, yeah.
That's what got you into that?
Dude, I don't even know, man. I think I just heard about it and I just started doing research on my own. But yeah, and I eventually stumbled on that blog. But yeah, it's kind of just word of mouth, I think. One of my friends mentioned it.
Damn, that was way before I think it got popular, because it got popular within the last like 4 or 5 years, like really popular.
Yeah, like you walk down a section of Whole Foods like aisle and they'll have like stuff that's marketed as low carb. It's like, it's crazy.
Low carb or keto.
Chipotle keto. Chipotle just came out with the keto friendly like cauliflower base instead of the rice. They have like a new cauliflower like type thing that you can get for your
cauliflower rice.
Yes, yeah. I've never had it. I might try it. Okay.
Sounds decent. I mean, I'll go try it out soon. I actually want to, I was talking about literally just before, Tim Ferriss also. This is another thing. He, in his book, The 4-Hour Workweek, talks about like he moved to a foreign country and got someone to cook for him. He paid someone to cook all of his meals.
Yeah.
Just like, and so he would get pretty much like whatever food he would wanted, cooked, really well, cheap personal chef. And I was telling that to my friend earlier today, just like, that sounds like a really good thing. Saves like a very good time savings right there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like when you think about how much like time and energy and thought goes into preparing a meal or even like deciding where you want to go. It's like, oh, I want to go, do I want to go to Chipotle? Do I want to go to Subway? Do I want to go to, you know, some other restaurant? It's like, if you just having a personal chef takes the decision-making process part of that out for you. If you just eat whatever they cook, and yeah, saves time, saves energy. Doesn't save money, but yeah, that's why you're paying them. But I think that can be a really worthwhile trade-off for some people.
It could be. If I was, you know, like, I should actually
I
check
would do it.
those.
It's just,
What?
I don't think I am in a place financially for that right now.
No, I mean, he made the he was saying doing it like he moved to Buenos Aires for 6 months and did it there. So it was like, and he was working remotely. So he used the exact term, and he had Indian virtual assistants. So he was like, I'm paying for food in pesos, I'm making American dollars, and I'm paying for labor in Indian rupees, which is
outsourcing as much of his life as possible. Yeah, I love Tim Ferriss. He's a tinkerer. He's a great read.
He's a great read. There's a lot of things that, like, he's definitely very well versed in a lot of things, like optimization of time and energy and output, maybe to an extreme degree. But
yeah, I like that, man, because I'm an engineer, so I lap that shit up.
Yes, me too. I know, and I mean, you can't really take it literally, but you can definitely take parts of it and apply it to your life.
Yeah, it's like, really, the message there is like, what do I really need to be devoting my energy to? And for him, cooking wasn't one of those things. And don't get me wrong, some people get a lot of joy out of cooking. But yeah, it's like, if you think of cooking as one of those like daily routine tasks, I totally see the argument for hiring a personal chef and devoting your energy to other things.
I agree. Then, yes, I want to actually eat. I cook a lot, and that's
good.
Like,
yeah,
it's good, but it's like we said, like, there can be like 2 hours of my day devoted to cooking, cleaning, picking out food. And it's like, it can be nice, but at other times it's like, this is just, I need to be doing something else. And like, I can't afford this right now.
Yeah, I know what you mean. A meal prepping helps with that. If you're just like on Sunday, just meal prep all your lunches and just knock it out in like an afternoon. That way all your lunches will be ready. You just microwave it or something, and then you'd be good to go. I never did the meal prep thing, because for me, I like, you know, freshness and variety, yes. Which is, if you're okay with eating the same thing every day, then you could do that. That's funny, because I eat Chipotle every day, but I'm not okay. I don't want to meal prep. I guess it's more like, I don't really want to prep my meals.
And you don't want to reheat it if that's something that was cooked 3 days ago. You want something that was cooked within the last like 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, freshness is definitely a big deal.
Yes, I think so. And the meal prep
also too, the dishes, the cleaning, like that shit fucking adds up very quickly.
It adds up very quickly, and it's just, you know, it adds up very quickly. I mean, honestly, getting food at some places can be expensive. Chipotle is it seems like you go to like pretty affordable places, but like sometimes
Chipotle is reasonable, but yeah, but eating out in general is gonna burn a hole in your wallet.
It is, but I mean, depending on what you're doing in your career and like how it can be worth it if you.
Oh yeah, of course.
So I'm thinking I might eat out more.
Yeah, or hire a personal chef, man.
Dude, not in this country, not in the United States for sure.
How much would that cost? Like, or you could, you know, they have like those meal delivery things where they mail it to your doorstep, and it's all like prearranged, so you don't have to do it takes the hassle out of grocery shopping, and you get to still enjoy cooking the meal. So I feel like that would be a good option for you.
I think so. I actually saw a bunch of those ads on Instagram, and it's like they have like keto, vegetarian, vegan, paleo, like pretty much any diet, low carb that you'd want. So it's like,
Yeah.
my issue with those before was like there was Blue Apron, what I think was one of the original ones, and my roommates from like 3 years ago used Blue Apron, and
Okay.
I checked it out, but like they didn't have one that was specific to like low carb or some specific diets, but now they do. So I definitely might try that out. It sounds like
Yeah.
a great idea.
They're pretty affordable, I think. Yeah.
They're pretty
If you're
affordable.
usually the drawback to those is like the quantity, right? Is like
Yes.
if you're consuming a lot of calories, you're a big boy, it might be hard to fill up on that. But if you're not like exercising that much, or you're okay like operating at a calorie deficit a few days a week, then that's like the perfect solution.
I'm gonna do it and I'll report back to you.
Nice. You know what else
Wow.
I use a lot is DoorDash, because DoorDash takes the hassle out of the delivery. Like otherwise you have to drive to the store, you got to wait in line, then you got to order your food, you got to pay for it, and then drive back. So DoorDash is really nice because you're basically paying someone to do all that stuff for you, right?
Yes. Is DoorDash like the most affordable? Why don't you use Uber Eats?
I don't know how much Uber Eats costs. DoorDash is like $10 a month for their like membership, and that waives all of the delivery fees as long as you order over $12, which is not that
A
hard to do
month?
if you're eating out. $10 a month, yeah. No, the $12 limit is per like for that meal. So if you order
Oh,
something, as long as you order over $12, they don't charge you delivery.
damn. That's $10.
A
That's a
month.
good deal.
Yeah.
I mean, if you eat out a lot, that's easily a good deal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Especially when you think about the time it saves you. Like
Oh man, so much time. You know
I'll
what?
be in lab. It'll be like I'll have busy experimental day. Like I barely have any breathing room. I'll just pull up the app, have lunch delivered, and yeah, just go out to the main door, pick up my food, and then get back into the lab.
I think I need to start doing things like that because I just, don't one. Also, with cooking, it's like if you're cooking, you're probably going to be eating at home. And it's like, I actually like eating out too, like eating at a restaurant, eating with like in an environment in front of a lot of other people. It's like kind of nice.
Yeah, the ambiance, the hustle and bustle. I like that.
Yes, the hustle. Do you eat at your lab?
Yeah, so we have like a little in-house cafeteria, like not cafeteria, it's like an eating place. What do you call places where you eat? It's like
Cafeterias?
yeah, but they don't
Lounges?
serve food. Yeah, it's like a lounge where people just bring their lunch to eat. And so that's if I'm eating in lab, that's where I'll go to eat.
Got it. Wow. That is, what were you going to say?
Yeah, it's just like taking the Tim Ferriss approach, like just analyzing like parts of your life that could be outsourced, right? Because that's essentially what you're doing with DoorDash is like you're outsourcing the hunter-gatherer aspect of acquiring food, right? You're just paying someone to do that for you. And in exchange, yeah, it frees up your time to do other things. So there's a lot of like things like that that I think food is a big one. Like hiring a personal chef. What else is there?
Food is a huge one.
If I think a lot of people like there are things that they're doing that they don't realize could be automated. So if you're doing like a lot of routine, repetitive tasks, it might be worth paying someone to like write a program to automate what you're doing if you don't know how to do that yourself. And that, yeah, that's a huge one. If you can automate your life, like any part of your life, definitely do that.
What do you have an example of something?
I have an example specific to my lab work. It's not really like in my personal life. So like, since I give mice tumors, and I like a really routine aspect, or was a routine aspect of my job was to measure those tumors, and you have to do that like every 2 days. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sometimes on the weekends. And you're measuring like 30, 40 mice every other day. That shit was like really repetitive and time consuming. So I basically just, and the other thing is like I did it all manually at first. So like I had a pen and paper and I was writing down the measurements. Like you had to measure the mouse, write down the measurements, and then you had to transfer that into an electronic Excel sheet. So basically what I did was I just automated that entire process. I got like one of those calipers that had Bluetooth, and I wrote a program on my phone so that I could take the measurement with the caliper on the mouse. It would send to my phone, and then it would automatically record into an Excel sheet.
Wow.
So that saved like so much time for me. And yeah, eventually we got a tech to do the measurements. So no one in our lab does tumor measurements anymore except for the tech, but I gave her that software and I was like, use this. This will make your life so much easier. So
nice. What language did you write that in?
That was in Python.
And you put it on your phone?
Yeah. It was.
How'd you do that?
So I have an Android phone. I don't know if you can do this on an Apple phone, but there was like an app on the App Store that lets you write these kind of custom programs, like very high level type. Like it's pretty easy for beginners to use. And then I just had to learn a bit of Python on the back end to be able to convert the Bluetooth input and format it nicely into an Excel. Probably took me like a day or two to write that, but it saved so much time and energy. Like seriously, like the mental toll that it takes, like doing a repetitive task, like over and over every 2 days, it just completely took the pain out of that. So highly recommend.
It takes a lot of liability out of your hands because now you don't have to like manually push
There's
that
no
over.
Transcription error.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were talking. Yeah, so
no,
I thought you were saying
transcription error too.
Yeah, because sometimes like you'll write something down and then like there's so many measurements you could easily record the wrong thing when you're writing it back into an Excel. So yeah, the machine never gets that wrong. Yeah, so like data entry or like really repetitive tasks, that all of that stuff can be automated. And yeah, if you're doing any of that in your life, you should definitely look into solutions for that.
Yes, I feel like a lot of automation solutions are going to be pretty customized towards your problem. Like just thinking about my work, like any solution that we'd come up with would have to be pretty much just for them, just for the people I work for.
Yeah, so there's this guy I listen to, Sam. His name is Sam Myers, and this is kind of because we're talking about like ways to save your energy. His big thing is like decision fatigue, right? Every decision you make is like cutting away at your willpower, and it doesn't matter what kind of decision it is. Like every decision you make is going to withdraw some arbitrary amount of willpower from you. So if you think about like your willpower as a battery, you start the day fresh with maximum willpower. You want to avoid decision fatigue. Like you want to save your willpower for making high quality decisions. So like if you can limit the number of decisions that you have to make, you'll be better off, right? So things like hiring a personal chef fit that category, right? You don't have to decide what you're going to eat. It's just like the chef has his planned rotation of meals that he's going to cook for you. You just have to eat. And another big thing was, I mean, he takes it to kind of an extreme, but like he has an example that he likes to use where it's like even the clothes you're wearing, it's like just don't waste energy thinking about what you're going to wear for that day. Just wear the same thing. Not like the exact same shirt every single day, but just have like 7 white t-shirts and just that's all you wear. Like you don't have to like think about it. You just grab it and put it on. So stuff like that. Yeah.
Do you wear a lot of white t-shirts?
I do wear a lot of white t-shirts.
Wow, that's a crazy. I know Mark Zuckerberg does blue. White is kind of a crazy one because it's easily scannable.
Yeah, decision fatigue, man. It's like, yeah, interesting concept.
Decision fatigue is huge. I think it's real. Like by the end of the day, I'm I'm exhausted and like I shouldn't even be making any decisions. It's just like just relax, go back in it, and then big decisions, save them for the next day.
Yeah.
When did you come up? Did you read a book, or how did you come up with Sam Myers?
He's got a YouTube channel, and I was really into self-help for a while. And I mean, like when you're in that like niche, you just know about everyone. So he kind of popped up on my radar, and he had a YouTube channel. I started listening to his videos. His stuff is geared more towards like business owners who are like really trying to take their business to the next level. But I find a lot of his stuff applies to everyone. So that's when you know like it's like he's got good content. Is like that kind of timeless advice or general principles that apply in any space or to anyone. Yeah, you want to listen to that kind of stuff.
Yes. Yes, you do. As general as possible. Wow. Do you have, so when do you accumulate your 6th year?
That's just, well, so I just ended my 6th year, so I'm getting ready to wrap up and defend and graduate. So yeah, so hopefully soon. I don't want to set a hard deadline on it because I feel like every time I do, I just jinx it and my date gets pushed back a little bit longer, but soon.
Wow. Defend your thesis?
Yep. That's the last thing I need to do before I get those 3 letters after my name, PhD.
How do you defend it?
So there's a committee, and the committee consists of 5 members, and then my PI, Anjana, is like kind of the main committee member. And then there's 4 other people. I picked them from like different backgrounds. One of them is in my department, but the other one is like a biology person. I had a doctor. I have a doctor, Dr. Ezra Cohen, on my panel. And who's the 5th? Oh, yeah, I actually had 2 people from my department. So yeah, and basically you write your thesis, you submit it to them, and then there's an oral defense, which is what people say when like I'm getting ready to defend, is the oral defense. And you basically present your research in front of them, and they kind of grill you and ask you questions. And if they think you're ready, then they say, yes, this guy deserves his degree, give it to him.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting. When's your defense?
Soon.
Soon?
Very soon, yeah.
Wow.
I've got I've got a couple more experiments that I need to do and wrap up before I wrap up the data collection part of things. But yeah.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
Do you have any plans, or do you have any companies or things, any exact roles that you want to do, or businesses you want to start?
Businesses I want to start. In the biotech space, it's impossible to start a business like by yourself. Like it's the amount of capital that's required is just insane. And then like I heard somewhere that like less than 5% of biotech startups actually end up working or end up succeeding or getting acquired by some bigger company. So I'm just going to get a job working for a biotech company. I want to become a scientist, and there's a lot of opportunity here in San Diego for that. So yeah, that's the immediate plan for the future once I graduate.
Once you graduate?
Yep.
Do you have any plans for like vacation or any big travels after you graduate?
Yeah, man. I've been I might go to Amsterdam.
Oh, right.
This September. There's a big festival happening, ASOT, by Mr. Armin van Buuren himself. Yes, yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it'll be my first time in Europe, so I'm looking forward to that.
Amsterdam is an amazing city.
I've heard, yes. I'm actually going to Utrecht, so it's different city, but I'll probably stop by Amsterdam. Utrecht is where the festival is.
You're gonna fly into Amsterdam though, right?
Probably. Yeah, you probably know better than I do. If that's the main airport.
That is. And
Okay.
Netherlands is pretty small, so it's like doesn't take too long to get
Yeah.
somewhere. Wow, that's exciting. Have you ever been? You've been to festivals though.
Yeah, this is not my first rodeo, but this is probably the biggest one that I'm going to. It's a big deal. It's number 1,000. So he does every week. Armin comes out with like a new radio show. So every year there's 52 episodes. He just rounds it down to 50. So like every year this like the 50th episode is a big deal. But then since this is like 1,000, he's been doing this for 20 years. This is like an even bigger deal. So there's a lot of
That's
hype.
insane,
Yeah.
dude. Have you bought your tickets?
I have not, dude. I'm still trying to acquire tickets because they sold out in an instant, dude. Like COVID was like got everyone like gave everyone all this pent up energy, and yeah, that it sold out, and I wasn't able to compete. And then like these like you're talking about like these guys are hardcore fans, so they're like really dedicated. So they were on the website like hours before the release date, like hitting refresh, waiting to buy their tickets. So it's okay. There will be like a resale market, so I think I'll be able to pick up tickets. I'm just worried. I don't know if it'll be open for COVID because the last I heard, the situation in Europe was still kind of baddish. So I'm keeping my eye out on that. But I definitely want to go, and I have plans to go if COVID isn't a problem.
Well, hopefully it's not a problem. Hopefully you can go. That would be
Yeah.
an
What about
amazing
you? Do you have
experience.
any plans? I know you've been getting into hunting like recently. You got any big hunting trips?
Yes, I have
Oh,
a
that's
hunt.
exciting. Okay.
It is. I have a hunting trip to Colorado for elk at the end
Oh
of
shit.
September.
Okay.
And then I have a hunting trip for elk in Montana in the beginning of October. So in 3 months from now, I have two really big hunts.
Nice. You have to practice for that?
I've been practicing. I mean, I think
Okay.
I'm good at within 60 yards. I think I can shoot it with the
Yeah,
animal.
because you're shooting it with a bow and arrow, right? Or are
Yes.
you oh okay. Damn, that's yeah, you're not shooting with a gun. Okay.
Yes. A whole
That's like a
different
whole
ball
nother
game.
level. Yeah, that's
I
crazy,
have to
man.
make sure I'm accurate.
Because what happens if you miss? The animal comes charging at you?
I don't know if they'll come charging at me. I think one of the bigger risks is that I shoot it, it doesn't die. I go up to harvest it, and then it gets up and then charges me right there. More so
Oh,
than right after the shot.
oh, you just gotta wait for it to bleed out then
You have to wait for it to bleed out, or you have to shoot it,
again.
come up to it with the, ready to shoot it again.
Huh, okay. Elk are massive, right? They're pretty
If I,
intimidating. They could
yes,
kill you, yeah? If
yes,
elk wanted to.
yes, they could, which is why I have to be careful and safe.
Damn,
But
man, that's gonna be exciting. You should videotape that. Like, strap a GoPro on.
I'm
I
actually
watch that.
bringing someone. So the one in Montana is going to be like pretty wild. Like I'm planning right now to get like a canoe. The person that I've asked to come with me is like a backpacker, a rock climber, like even way more adventurous than most people I know. I've been canoeing, I've been backpacking and canoeing with them.
Oh,
So
okay.
like it's like what I'm planning on doing is like flying into Montana, getting a canoe, canoeing out to some remote area with him, maybe seeing if he could videotape some of the stuff, especially the
The
actual
kill
shot.
shot.
The kill shot would
Yeah.
be insane. And then we harvest meat. And another thing is like I really want to go with someone because like if I shoot that animal, that's possibly up to 300 pounds of meat could possibly be harvested off that animal. And that would be like, I've heard that you can do 4 or 5 trips back and forth on an elk, like
Just
trying to,
to collect and harvest all the meat. So yeah,
yeah,
it'd be nice to have an extra pair of hands. Damn, that's crazy. Your freezer's gonna be stacked for years.
no,
300
not for
pounds of meat.
years. If I just eat what? What'd
I
you
don't know how
say?
long that'll last you.
Not for years. I mean, depends. I'm gonna give some away. Like, I know my old boss, his uh his brother was into hunting, so I might like give him like a piece of meat too. And but like, I don't know. It's like cool because last year I shot a deer and it was pretty incredible to like eat the meat. Definitely an experience.
Yeah, I'd be excited to eat like meat fresh that I just killed, rather
Apparently,
than have it go through like a factory farm and before it arrives on my plate.
yes. Apparently, eating meat fresh, like, have you heard of Meat Eater the show?
I have not.
It's a show on Netflix, and it actually got me really into hunting. But it's a guy who just records himself hunting, or he has a crew and they record him hunting. And he's really entertaining. If you have some time, I mean, it's just a really entertaining show. And he has a podcast, and he had a guy like a meat scientist on his podcast. Pretty much,
Okay.
this guy does a lot of things with like the federal regulations for beef in the United States. So he's like, how to slaughter beef, what's appropriate. And he said, slaughtering animals, they should like, it's not. He's kind of a little passionate about it, but he said it's like unfair to the animal to eat it right away, and you should let it like go into rigor mortis in order to tenderize so that it's a lot higher quality of meat, which usually takes a couple days.
Oh, okay. So that means you'd have to shoot, if you were to do it his way, you'd have to shoot the animal and then just
And
let
then
it.
gut it, take out the
Yeah,
guts immediately.
yeah, but then you have to let rigor mortis set in. That'll take a while. So you're basically just like leaving it out to dry for a couple days before you actually quarter it and like harvest the meat.
Well, that depends on how you do it. Like, so if it's a deer that's like 100 yards from your house, then you can do that. But with this elk, we're gonna have to quarter it wherever we kill it because
Right.
it's too big to move. And then we're gonna have to like just let the meat sit for like, depending on how hot it is. If it's really hot, apparently we can't do that.
Oh, okay. That's crazy, man. Sounds super exciting.
It's
Living off the
definitely,
land, eating what you kill.
yes, getting into forest and looking for wild
Yeah,
animals.
the hunt. Yes.
The hunt.
The prowl.
It's gonna be fun. Well,
That's like taking it to the extreme. We're talking about DoorDash, but like taking it to the other side of the spectrum is like fucking pick up my bow, run into the forest, shoot me some elk, and cook that elk. Harvest the meat and cook it.
there's a good chance that I won't even get an elk this year.
Oh,
And
really? Okay.
not a good chance. I mean, if I put in the effort, I think I have a good chance for the Montana one. But like, there's still like a solid chance I won't get either, and that I threw down a
Is it
lot of
because they're
money.
not? Is it because they're not there, or is it because you'll have a hard time finding them?
It would be because I have a hard time finding them.
Oh, dude, you should find someone with a drone. Maybe ask your buddy who's going with you if he has a drone,
That's got
and
to
you
be
should
so
like
illegal. I should Google
really
that. It's got to be
just send
illegal
up a drone and scout out an elk. Well, why would that be illegal?
because it's super easy. It's like
Okay,
it's
it's
just
cheating.
it's
Okay, it's cheating.
I would think
Well,
so.
it's just to find it, right? But like once you know where it is, then you can set off on the hunt, right?
That's very
But like if you
true.
don't even know where to begin, it's like you just gotta get your bearings. Just use the drone.
That's
You
not a
don't have to
bad
use the
idea.
drone the whole time, right? It's just to ensure that you actually have something to hunt. Whether or not you catch it and kill it is like comes down to your skills as a hunter, right?
Yes, it does. That, I mean, there's a lot of issues. I'm thinking of battery life mostly in the back, like in the wild, but that's about it. If the battery life could be sufficient and you could carry it in, it's not a bad idea.
I think the drones these days have like 40 minutes, 45 minutes of battery life. And you can bring like battery packs. So if you're going with like someone who actually like does drones for a living or on the side, like that'll be no problem. But yeah, I mean, if your friend doesn't have it, I wouldn't recommend just buying a drone just for that purpose.
No, I don't think so. It would be pretty tough to bring out there too and take care of.
You just you gotta sniff out the elk. I don't know.
Make sure they don't sniff me out.
Exactly. Cat and mouse.
Cat and mouse. Well, Wade, thank you for coming on the podcast. Are there
For
any
sure.
last things that you would like to say about what we spoke about?
How about we end with a question? So I'll ask you, and you can ask me something you want. So, who would you say is the most influential person in your life?
Most influential?
Yeah. Or who, like, it doesn't have to be the most influential, but has influenced you in a meaningful or significant way.
The podcast host of EconTalk, Russ Roberts, has influenced my views on economic policy, like in a way that it just seems like a veil was lifted in front of my eyes.
Yeah. You're talking econ policy, you're talking about like monetary and fiscal policy of the US government?
Just not even that. It's just like he goes into like, it's not just economic policy, but he does medical insurance, and then he talks about like he has this one of like extreme economies where it's like the economy inside of a prison, like the bartering systems that are developed within a prison, and like just a lot of different ways of thinking that do center around economics. Actually, he's dived outside of economics a little bit, but still, like, even one was on hunting in Africa and the economics of how like hunting in Africa is usually pans out well for the animals there, because the tribes and the people on the ground have more of an incentive to maintain the populations if they're making a large amount of money off of Western hunters. Whereas if there are no Western hunters, the only people that care about those animals are poachers, generally. So it's like different.
Super interesting. Yeah.
It is interesting, but he's been my most influential. And so now, do I get to ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Ask me whatever you want.
Who's been the most influential person in your life? Or one of them?
Oh boy. Okay. Obviously my mom and my dad. Shout out to my folks. But okay, so this guy gets a lot of flack, and understandably so, but I'll defend my choice. So I would say Tai Lopez. Do you know who that is? Have you heard of him?
No.
He's like an internet like marketer, kind of. He was in e-commerce for a while. He has that really famous YouTube video, Here in My Garage, where he's like in front of his Lamborghini, but he's got like a whole like shelf of books behind him. Have you seen that video? That like broke the internet.
Maybe. Yes.
Yeah, Tai Lopez. Yes. Anyway, but like people don't like him because he's kind of he's a marketer, so he's like selling his course, and he's like kind of in this. He was in the self-help space for a while, and like like he kind of like if you don't really know him and like you're just watching his stuff for the first time, it kind of has like a sales like a kind of like a scammy like vibe to it, right? Like he's trying to sell you something. But if you actually like listen to what like his good stuff, he's got like little gold nuggets of wisdom in there. So the reason I like Tai Lopez is because I'm like a very ordered and like structurally kind of guy. I need systems. I'm very analytical. So like he basically gave, okay, not he, but like something he said gave structure to my life in a way that like I had never had before. And he has this saying, which is like, how do you live a good life? Like, what's a good life? It's like health, wealth, love, and happiness. Those four things, like those four pillars: health, wealth, love, and happiness. And yeah, so like before I had never heard of anything like that, but like when I heard that, it was like, oh wow, this gives like my life like a lot of definition and like structure. So like now whenever I'm like thinking or like reflecting on something that I've done, it's like, which bucket does that go into? Is like working out, like that goes in the health bucket. Wealth is like, it's kind of self-explanatory. It's like, are you making money? Like how big is your bank account? Love is like your friends, your family, your loved ones, your social network. And then happiness is like, I break that down into like short-term and long-term happiness. It's like, there's like the fun things that you do like on the weekends, like maybe go to a party, hang out with friends. And then there's like long-term happiness, which is like, what are you doing like for long-term fulfillment? Like that could be your career, that could be your family, something that is like, you know, you dedicate your life to. So yeah, that's why I like Tai Lopez, is because like he gave me a framework that I found really useful for just like approaching life with.
It's easier to be able to actually bite at it when you have those systems in place.
Yeah, it just made like things make more sense. Like, yeah, it's like things fit together more nicely. It's like I understand like, okay, maybe some days like I miss a workout, I can't go to the gym. It's like, okay, but I'm hitting the other areas of my life. Like, okay, you're not hitting health. Like, what are you doing for your wealth? What are you doing for your love and happiness? And yeah, it's just about like trying to fill those buckets to the best of your ability. And yeah, How to Live a Good Life, Man by Tai Lopez. I'm pretty sure he didn't come up with that. I'm sure someone much older and wiser came up with it before him, but I credit him because that was the first time I heard it. Health, wealth, love, and happiness.
That's huge. That's wow. I'll have to check Tai Lopez out.
Okay.
I think I did because I think I know what video you're talking about, the Lamborghini in front of the bookshelf, and I did not.
Yeah, here in my garage.
Yes, I remember that.
That was like when YouTube like was first becoming really popular, and it was like one of the first videos to hit like tens of millions of views or something like that.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
some
So he's been out
crazy
there for
stat.
a while. Okay. Yeah. Health, wealth, love, and happiness.
Yep, those four.
Well, we'll make sure to keep chugging at those.
For sure, man.
Well,
this was great. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks for coming on the podcast, Wade. I really enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, doing your great podcast host, Karush, and I hope to see. I wish you the best of success. I want you to take out Joe Rogan.
Thank you. What we need, you know, we millennials, we're coming. We're like
on You're next in line.
We'll see. I don't know if I'm next in line, but someone's next in line for sure. Someone our age. All right, Wade. We'll definitely have to do this again.
For sure. Yeah, anytime.
Oh yeah.
All right. Take care, man.
Take care.